Welcome to Visual Radio, the TV interview show produced and created by Joe Viglione that features interviews with noted figures from the world of music, film, sports, and politics. Joe's guest today is Tom Hambridge, the five-time Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, producer, and drummer. Tom's most recent Grammy was won in 2026 for his work on Buddy Guy's Ain't Done with the Blues. Tom has produced over 100 albums and written over 1,000 songs, many of which have been performed by all-star musicians, including the likes of Eric Clapton, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, B.B. King, ZZ Top, Leonard Skinner, Peter Frampton, Johnny Winter, George Thorogood, and many more. Joe and Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Joe. How are you?
Good. I'm excited that you're coming to Boston.
Me too. It's been a long time, and I can't wait to get up there.
What's interesting is you're going to be playing a new venue opened by Gary Summers, our old friend. Um, you realize what he's doing. It's kind of like a collectible concert where people get autographs and the records, and it's a unique concept for a music venue.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that show because it's more interactive, you know. I'll be able to talk and answer questions and take pictures and he did say, yeah, bring some collectibles up. So I'm going to try to figure out some things around here to take with me that are just, memorabilia from the day, you know.
Um, you're playing quite a few venues around here. Can you tell us where the tour has taken you?
Well, yes, when we get up there, I'm actually heading out to New Jersey tomorrow to do some dates, but when we get up there, we're doing the Fallout Shelter in Norwood, Mass, and that is the a Friday night. I'm really excited about that place. Let me just look here. Friday night, June 26th, and I've just heard so many great things about that venue, so I can't wait to play there with my band, the Rattlesnakes, and then the next night we're in Manchester, New Hampshire, at a new venue, and then the Sunday we're up at a place called the Farm Stand up in northern New Hampshire, which is also supposed to be another really cool venue. I like playing places I haven't played before because I actually feel like I've played everywhere at least once. And these places are new, and that's exciting to me, as you know, as a performer. Like I love hearing about new places, and so I'm excited to get up to New England and then the 30th is the show at Wex
Wex Rex in
Rex
Hudson,
in
in
Hudson,
Hudson,
yeah.
Mass.
And that's going to be really cool. And that's the one you talked about because that's a Tuesday night, and I can't wait to just I'm going to get to maybe talk about a lot of the stuff I've done and some of the songs I've written for different people and some of the journeys I've been on and hang out with the folks.
Will it be like a storyteller's Peter Asher or Jimmy Webb on tour talking about their career?
Yeah, that's where it's set up. Like, I'm going to be able to play some songs and maybe discuss how this song got to Eric Clapton or what was it like when I recorded it with Mick Jagger. Right? You know, some crazy stories because even I can't, sometimes process all that stuff. But it happened, and I never dreamed a lot of the stuff would happen, but it did. So I can explain how some of the dots got connected, and then play maybe a song and explain how I wrote it.
Peter Asher did the Regent last May 18th last year, 2025, and brought the house down. It was packed, and Linda Ronstadt songs, James Taylor, and his story is unique, where he lived with Paul McCartney.
I know, I know his sister, right, was Paul's girlfriend,
Jane
Jane
Asher,
Asher.
right, the actress.
I mean, yeah, I mean, wow,
They wrote "For Me to You" in the basement, John and Paul, on the
unbelievable.
mother's piano. And she, I guess, taught George Martin whatever instrument she played. Pretty amazing.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Who was
Yeah.
in your band?
Well, I've got some pretty legendary New England guys. I've got Sal Baglio, who's the guitar player for the Stompers, and Jimmy Scopa, who played with me with my band TH and the Wreckage for 100 years in Boston, and Dave Fox on drums, Sven Larsson on bass. All those guys are legendary career guys and played with a lot of different people, and they've been my traveling band. So it's really cool to go out with those guys.
June 29th, 1978, Sal Baglio and I did our very first show at the Paradise.
Wow.
Yeah, with Steve Gilligan and the Stompers. And
What year was that?
June 29th, 1978.
Wow.
I played there
Wow.
49 times. I think I got the world's record.
You're like the Billy Joel of Madison Square Garden, but only of the Paradise. I like this. Yeah, you
Billy
set the
Joel
record.
recorded I Got Away. Yeah, She's Got Away at the Paradise.
Wow.
Yeah, it says Flip of a 45 hour. It was actually the hit. Which brings me to, are you recording these events?
We're recording the Fallout Shelter in Norwood on the Friday, and I think that's just because he's got like a credible multi-camera shoot that he does there. So we are doing that, and we can release that, I guess. So we'll probably have some stuff released from that show.
Interesting. I asked Ian Anderson if he liked people taping because I was going to send him some tapes I did at the Boston Garden in the 70s, right? Oh, I hate it. And it's like, okay, not going there, right? So I'm at the show that night at the Harbor thing on the,
Harbor
right
Lights?
near Anthony's Pier 4,
Yeah,
Harbor Pavilion, whatever it was.
yeah,
He goes into Aqualung, 200 phones go up in the air. And I'm going, oh, Ian's worst nightmare.
yeah.
But to me, everyone's got a cell phone, so recording these events can, and Tom Hambridge at the Wexrex, 200 years from now, what will
Right,
AI do to the concert, right?
right,
Will we
right.
have holograms of the artist? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it's amazing, and because I do that when I just the other night I was late at night and I finished recording and I thought, man, I want to look up some things, and I watched some old Todd Rundgren footage, and I said, geez, did Delamitri, when did they play last? And I try to find and I was able to find like crazy things, from Albert's Hall in London in 70, whatever, like you're talking about Jethro Tull or Ian Anderson. Yeah, it's because I've looked up Jethro Tull just to watch them play Madison Square Garden with the lights on, on the Thick as a Brick tour, just to catch a little bit. Yeah, so it's going to be wild. I think some people, probably Ian is the same where you don't always get the best looking. So depending where they're sitting, they're filming, and there might be people talking and standing up, and the sound might not be great where they're sitting, and so they get nervous about people going, "That's what we sounded like," and when it's not probably accurate.
Well, people were bootlegging Shakespeare. That's how the material survived. The scripts for the actors and the people in the audience dictating it or writing it down. Really weird, but like that's really how bootlegging came about. And then the classical concerts, they were before rock and roll, of course, and here we are today. What's important is the Guess Who, Burton Cummings,
Yeah,
great artist. He's talking on Facebook about how they wrote American Woman. Randy Bachman was just doing that riff on stage.
right,
Burton was signing autographs. He jumps on stage, starts singing, but then they forgot about it, and someone in the audience had taped it. And they got the tape, the bootleg tape, and that's how they wrote American Woman from just jamming.
right. Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
do
I know. I
that
did.
when you're on tour? Do you tape some of the riffs that your guys come up with, or
Well, excuse me. I don't do that. I, I don't. I probably should. Um, I used to tape sound checks
Ah,
when we were on the road. I did a lot of touring where I would be out opening for Leonard Skinner or ZZ Top or whatever in these big venues, and uh, I'd be just tape the sound checking and trying to just get the sounds right, but because I could experiment with different grooves or ideas, and then I do it in the studio though. When I'm recording in the studio, nowadays with Pro Tools, a lot of times I just keep the engineer rolling. So when I'm showing the band the song and I'm telling them like this might be the intro. Maybe you play this little lick on the guitar and the keyboard, just hit a G. And when I come in with the groove on the drums and start singing, everybody feel their way in. And we'll just try this intro idea. Now that might turn into something that I can go back and go to the engineer, play that first thing we did before we all learned the song. How did we all fall in? And I'll hear that and go, guys, listen to this. You weren't sure what you were doing, and that's magic, you know? And so let's try to use that. So there's definitely positives to recording.
tell me about the new album. How did that come about?
Well, the latest one is called Down the Hatch, and that's a new record. And that well, the Blue Vu record had done so well, and so the record company asked me if I could just get another one out there. And again, I think Blue Vu had a lot of songs on it that I had recorded or that other people had recorded my songs. So there's a song that Buddy Guy had recorded and a song Joe Bonamassa or whoever they had recorded these songs. So George Thorogood and I decided I wanted to do my versions of those songs. And then on this record, it's more of just new songs that other people hadn't recorded, just stuff that I kind of more personal songs, I guess, um, that I didn't give to other artists. I kept myself, and so it's out, it's getting good reviews all over the world, and I'm excited. I'm excited to still be making music. Joe, just still being able to be creative and having people come to my shows and playing with my friends who are great musicians and creating music. I'm blessed.
No, it's incredible. Where'd you get the name Blue Javu?
That was the record company, Bruce Quarto. He came up with that,
Really?
and yeah, I was in Australia, I remember, and he said we need a title for the record. And a lot of times it just is a song title off the record. And I just, I think I had some really bad ideas for titles. And he went, well, let me think about it. And he got back to me and he said, I got an idea, Blue Javu. And the reason was, he said, deja vu, like when you think you've been there
Ah,
before. A lot of these songs, they're going to go, why do I know this song? And it was recorded by George Thorogood or Johnny Winter or whoever, but they wouldn't know that I wrote the songs. So he thought that would be a great title, Blue Javu, and I love it. So
played with Andy Pratt and Johnny Winter. Um, two different personalities, but personalities that are larger than life. Andy came from a political family. He was in the Gulf of Tonkin when the Vietnam War started with his uncle, who was,
wow,
I think, Paul Nitzer, the Secretary of State. So
wow,
Andy has a unique story, and then you played New York with him.
yeah, I did a
Um,
live record with him. Yeah.
any people that we don't know about that aren't, on the web that you played with that you found very interesting?
Boy, well, there's a lot, man. There's been and people like Chuck Berry and Roy Buchanan was one that was an amazing
Nice.
guitar player, and a dear friend. Boy, when I think about how I love songs, and I love when I was really little listening to my dad would drive around. I'd be in the old car and listening to all these songs, and then ending up playing. I was fortunate enough to, for some reason, to end up playing as their band leader for the Hermits, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, Little Anthony and the Imperials, the Marvelettes, the Drifters, all these crazy Motown. And I remember Peter Noon saying to me, "How come, you know these songs, and you weren't around, you're young." And I said, "My older sister had your greatest hit record, and I was 5 years old, and she would play it, and I would play. I had a drum set, and I would play to it, and I would sing all the harmonies, and because I was singing all the parts, on stage with them." And he said, "I don't get it." Same with the Rascals. When I met Felix Cavallari, I was honored to produce a record for him, and he said, "Would you want to come out and play some dates with the Rascals?" And I said, "That would be a dream come true. Are you kidding me?" And he goes, "Well, my drummer, blah, 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 come on out. We'll do a run through the Northeast or wherever in New York." And playing those songs, Lonely Too Long and What Is the Reason for Falling, I knew all the drum parts that Dino played because I just played, that's how I learned to play drums, just playing these songs. And it wasn't songs of my contemporaries like Aerosmith or, the bands when I was in my teenager years. It was when I was younger. I played all those songs. And so a lot of those bands like Felix Cavallari, people like that, I pinch myself when I think of the guys that kind of invented this stuff that we're doing. Bo Diddley. I got to play with Bo Diddley and whatever, a lot. I can't think right now, but just so many that I've been blessed to play with that I think like Johnny Winter and Andy Pratt. I didn't know. I mean, Andy Pratt was kind of ahead of me in Boston. He was older. His record had kind of peaked before I knew of him. But I knew of him. I knew of him as this legendary guy, but I didn't see him perform or anything like that. So when I met him, I actually met him in Nashville. He moved to Nashville for some reason and and whatever, looked me up and said, "I want to do a live record in New York, and would you play drums on it?" And I thought, okay, you know, and then I had to, he gave me that record, and I had to learn that record. And
And
like I say,
avenging Annie is not
A-
easy.
Avenging Annie, right, right. So yeah, I mean, and I know he was like in the cover of Rolling Stone or whatever. I know he was big, and I just, but I wasn't a part of that scene. I don't even think I was in the area yet. So, but anyways, that was like when I saw Treasure That Canary on the article you did too. You put that on there because it just makes me smile ear to ear because he's so good, and the band, all those guys in the band, or a lot of them had played with him during those years, and so I was just hanging in there, and it felt great.
Well, John Scofield did the first tour with him
Wow,
way back
really?
in the 70s.
Wow.
I taped those shows. And then I managed Andy for a little while. So I had these old tapes of his with a WBCN broadcast with a song that wasn't on the second album, Avenging Annie album. Um, it's just amazing what he could write. But I'm thinking back to, I had some good questions here. TH and the Wreckage, you going to do any of the music from TH?
Everybody, the people do yell that stuff out. Yeah, I got to tell you, Joe, it was funny. So I had TH in the Wreckage for forever, and we played every club in New England, everywhere, for so many years, and all the Boston Music Awards and blah blah blah, BCN. And then I moved to Nashville, and I started producing records, and then I got a record deal, and I did all this stuff. And when I think it was 9/11 happened, there was a big concert of a lot of bands in Boston as a benefit concert, and I got asked to play with TH and the Wreckage. And I hadn't played with TH and the Wreckage for, I guess it would have been, 15 years or so. And so I realized when I went back there and play, all these really great bands, the Stompers, Fahrenheit, the Fools, all these really great bands were there, and my band was there, and we had to play. We had like I don't know, 5 or 6 number one songs on BCN, through the years, local number ones, and and I hadn't played that material, even thought about it, and it was amazing to go and relearn that, and play that, and have the people really embrace it. I kind of was so busy and focused doing so many other things. I'd written hundreds of other songs that I didn't, and so I realized when I go to New England, I got to have a couple of those in my pocket because people yell out specific ones. Those they'll just yell out something, and so I try to do a couple GH and the Record songs along the way.
Hey, Tommy, I'd like to talk to you for 2 hours, but we've got to wrap up now. 30 minutes go by quick.
Well, it's
Anything
been
you'd
fun.
like to say?
Well, I just, I love what you do, Joe, and I respect the heck out of you. And I'm honored to be on the show. I hope if anyone hears this that used to come see me with TH and the Wreckage or whatever, or is curious about coming, please come out to these shows because I'd love to be able to come back every year and do a little run around New England and play and party with everybody, hang out.
Sounds cool, man. Thank you so much for being on Visual Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Joe and Tom, for that interesting discussion. As Tom said, he would love to have those of you that enjoy great blues music come out and see him when he's on tour in the area. I was fortunate to attend his most recent show in Manchester, New Hampshire, and want to share his story about the advice he got from Dr. John. You'll hear that advice from Manchester as he introduces his song Blues Crazy, followed by a video of a performance of the song, which is better quality than the one I recorded in Manchester. Enjoy this great song and be sure to see Tom when he visits New England again.
So I made a bunch of records, and one that was kind of near to my heart was I went down to New Orleans and made an album. One of my records. I make records for other people too, but this was my own record. I went to New Orleans and I called all these great New Orleans musicians to see if they'd play on my record, and I didn't know many of them. I just kind of cold called everybody, and it was great because they all came out to the studio. I met them at the studio, and what I did was I wrote a lot of songs when I was down there. I wanted to not go down there with the songs. I wanted to be in New Orleans, eating the food, drinking the wine, and writing the songs down there to get the flavor of it all. And so, so some of the guys that came out played on the record with the great Alan Toussaint played on the record. Ivan Neville, Sonny Landreth, all these amazing players showed up, and it was unbelievable. They all came out and played so great. And so one night before the session, I was thinking about Dr. John, and I had met him. Being in New Orleans, I was thinking about Dr. John. He's passed away, but I remember I used to play drums for a guy named Roy Buchanan. You ever heard of a guy named Roy Buchanan? Unbelievable guitar player. He's passed away, but he was unbelievable. And we would play a place in New York City all the time called the Lone Star in Manhattan. And whenever he would play, all these famous musicians would come out to see him play. And I was his drummer, singer guy. And so one night after the show, I was in the dressing room, and Dr. John was there. He looked so hip. He had this crazy hat on and a scarf. And he walked over to me. I think he had 2 drinks, one in each hand. He walked over to me and he said, "Hey, Tom, let me give you some advice." And it sounded like, "Hey, Tom, let me give you some advice." That's what he said. He said, "Listen, man, this line of work I highly recommend." That's what I didn't want to say, what? I just went, it sounded like he said, "This line of work I can either highly or hardly recommend." And I remember just going, I gotta remember that, whatever the heck he said. And so when I was in New Orleans, I remember that came back to me, and I thought, I'm gonna write a song, because now I know what he meant, I think. And it's called Blues Crazy. It goes like this.
do no more. Wanna shoot an 8-ball, 2 is smoking crack, 3 is picking bar fights, Punchy. What you looking at? I'm blues crazy. I think you know what's on my mind. You know, I'm blues crazy. Yeah, that's right. I got a box of matches and a can of lighter fluid. I got a stick man on my shoulder just daring me to do it. I got a gram of black powder, gonna fill a bottle rocket. Life will slap your face while it pinks your back pocket. I'm blues crazy. I got a pistol and a knife. Hello, I'm blues crazy. Can't hardly recommend this life. Down in mosquito nets. I'm certifiable, that's what they call me over at the zoo. I got windows on my house, people. Nobody can see through. I'm blues crazy. I think you know what's on my mind. Hell, I sell a pint of blood for a little sip of that Red Dog One wine. Come on, Rocky. Then I turned 13. I went 12 years without drinking and I turned 13. What's ahead of me is a lot shorter than what's back there behind me. I go to church in the morning. I close the pubs every night. I never cross a line, man, but I teeter all the time and I'm blues crazy. And I go howling in the woods. Hardly recommend this life, baby. Don't seem to do me any good. Yeah, blues crazy. And I'm howling in the woods. Hardly recommend this life. Don't seem to do